Stalkers continuing to be warped in from the Protoss player DEFCON 5 right now, and these Mutalisks are going to sneak right by here and try to go for the main base mineral line. He manages to get back there, and the Stalker's trying to move into position. A decent amount of drones going down before he can even get there to respond. One Stalker going down, but it looks like he is going to back off with the remaining Mutalisks, as he does appear to have lost one of them. And sentries coming in here as well, one of them getting focus fire down before it can even finish warping in, and the Zerg player is going to have to back off with these Mutalisks again. A few of these Mutalisks getting very low on health right now, and it looks like DEFCON 5 rather, is moving out across the map, trying to scout and find out where the Hidden Expansion is, although he is still unaware it is right next to his front door at this high yield. He is scouting up in the top left right now, and it looks like Spartan has actually put up another hatchery in the top right, so as well as trying to take his initial base back once again, although there is an observer overhead for the Protoss player, so he is completely aware of what's going on. And the Zerg player once again moving in with these Mutalisks, trying to do some more harassment. He has another one moving into the mix right now, and as you can see in the production overlay, a couple more building. If we take a look at the income tab here, we can see that the Zerg player, despite having lost his main base, has a very big lead, about 200 to 300 minerals per minute lead on the Protoss player, because he does have that high yield base, although unfortunately he does not have a lot to defend with other than these Mutalisks. So if these Mutalisks get taken down, then he may be very, very open to attack, although he did manage to get his his main base back up and running. But once again, there is a Protoss observer overhead that is aware of what's going on, and there is no creep underneath the spire here. This spire will be going down very soon, because as you know, if there is no creep underneath a Zerg building, it slowly loses health until it goes down. And taking out both of the pylons powering all of these warp gates, he is not going to be able to produce any units for the time being, and he is actually supply blocked as he continues to just get pylons sniped left and right. So it looks like the Zerg player Spartan is actually going to be in a very, very good position right now, just doing a lot of good harassment with these Mutalisks. And unfortunately, the Protoss player is aware of this expansion up here, which actually he did get one immortal up there, which was enough to take down the entire expansion. So and as far as I know, DEFCON 5 has still not scouted this high yield base on the right hand side, although you can see on the left, because of that observer, he can see that there is another base up and running here at the main, and he is moving his army out here, trying to put some pressure on it with a few zealots here, and he does have a couple of immortals as well. So it looks like he may be going for that base here very soon, and as you can see, there is a pretty significant advantage for Spartan still on the income now that he has another base up and running, and he has effectively kept DEFCON 5 off of his natural expansion, because those Mutalisks are able to just move back and forth between the high ground and low ground without losing a whole lot of units. And it looks like the Protoss player DEFCON 5 is going to move over here and try to take out these destructible rocks so he can move into the Zerg player's base, but the Mutalisks are going to find this, and there's absolutely no anti-air here for this army, so those immortals and zealots are going to go down without a fight at all, which is very unfortunate for the Protoss player, since he does have so many minerals invested in those immortals. But a lot of units starting to stack up here in this Mutalisk clump. There are looks like 20 Mutalisks now on the map here, at least in this clump. If we look at the overlay, we can't see that is all the Mutalisks on the map, but as far as the production overlay says, there are only Zerglings being produced right now. He is upgrading the range for, I'm sorry, not the range, but the attack rather, for his Mutalisks, and trying to move in here, snipe some more pylons. There are some cannons in the back of this mineral line though, so it looks like he is going to try to take those out, managing to take down 2 cannons, but losing 3 Mutalisks in the process, and I think he only got 1 sentry other than those cannons, so that attack not really paying for itself. But it looks like he is going to try to move over to the high ground expansion here from DEFCON 5, but there are more cannons coming in right now, and a lot of sentries and stalkers from DEFCON 5, so he is going to be forced to move around to the front entrance again, and he may get these pylons powering the warp gates once again. 2 pylons powering all of these buildings right here, and they do both go down, so there is no more production for DEFCON 5 once again for the time being. He does have a decent amount of units though, so he will be able to defend against any air that Spartan brings at him, as long as he keeps his army in good position. And it looks like another hatchery going down in the upper right corner for Spartan, but Spartan's army has moved out. I'm sorry, DEFCON 5's army has moved out, and Spartan moves in and tries to take advantage of this, taking down the forge from the Protoss player, so he will not be able to get any upgrades or build any more cannons to defend against this Mutalisk harassment. And it looks like DEFCON 5 trying to put down 2 more pylons, so he actually has 4 pylons powering this area right now, which is probably wise considering that has been taken out on multiple occasions at this point. So he is hopefully not going to lose power to those buildings anymore. And wow, DEFCON 5 still completely unaware that this high yield base has been taken. He has not even scouted it once yet. So this hidden expansion for Spartan paying in dividends to his economic lead in this game, and that has really kept him in this game and allowed him to produce this large number of Mutalisks, which has kept the pressure on DEFCON 5. So it looks like he is going to continue building this Mutalisk army. On the production overlay, we can see here that right now he is producing 4 more Mutalisks as well as a few Zerglings here. He's starting to build up a somewhat sizable Zergling army, which Zerglings are very strong against these ranged units from DEFCON 5. The sentries and stalkers are not very good against the Zerglings, especially if they have the speed upgrade. So although of course there is a bit of a critical mass point where if you get enough of these ranged units, the Zerglings just can't get close enough to do any damage. But once again, it looks like DEFCON 5 is going to move out, and the 20 Mutalisks from Spartan going to try to put some pressure on here, although it looks like he is going to back off, seeing how many sentries there are waiting in his base for him. And it looks like there is a large army of stalkers and sentries also moving out across the map here, going to try to put some pressure on the Zerg player Spartan's base. And most of his Mutalisks are out of place, but the Zerglings are trying to get in here, but there is a good force field put down right at the entrance, so the Zergling's going to be completely useless, although all of these sentries and stalkers going to go down, so there will be no more force fields as soon as this last one goes down. But meanwhile, the base of the base of Spartan going down to this large stalker sentry army from DEFCON 5. He manages to take down the first spine crawler, and it looks like the second one going down here very soon. And the layer rather is going to go down as well. So both players kind of trading bases here. Although little does DEFCON 5 know that Spartan had this high yield base the whole time and is really not in that bad of shape. So it looks like he is going to have Spartan is going to have the upper hand in this trade, and he manages to take out all the tech from Spartan. And although he did lose, oh no, he did not lose the Spire. So it looks like Spartan managed to hold on to his Spire still, and the sentries and stalkers for DEFCON 5 going to back off and possibly try to defend against this Zerg assault, which has now taken out the entire main base. And I would imagine as soon as they're finished with the assimilators there, they're going to be moving up to this high ground base here, which is only defended by about 5 cannons, and it looks like the stalkers and sentries are going to try to move into position to help out with that as well. But on the other side of the map here, we can see DEFCON 5 putting up another Nexus, so going to try to stay in this game by getting a hidden expansion. These cannons are going down very quickly. Unfortunately, the stalkers and sentries for DEFCON 5 were out of position, so they were not able to help these cannons in defending this base, and it looks like he is going to lose all of the defense and most of the probes mining at this base, and he's going to try to snipe this Nexus too. Oh my goodness, the Nexus goes down. So basically all that DEFCON 5 has going for him right now is that he has a decent sized army, but at this point I don't think he has enough to take on all the Zerglings and Mutalisks from the Zerg player Spartan right now. So we'll see if he's able to get himself back in the game with this hidden expansion. But it looks like the Mutalisks from Spartan are going to be doing a little bit of scouting across the map, although he is already aware of this base up here, it looks like. Oh no, I'm sorry, he is not aware of this base up here already. So going to be moving around trying to figure out exactly where the Protoss player is going. He said at least this is stupid. But anyways, the Zerg player is still in very good shape here. He does have his expansion up in the upper right running here, and he does have the hatchery down at the bottom, although it does look like he finally lost that Spire because there was not any creep under it, and just the health finally depleted all the way down to 0. And these last few drones are going to try to get in here and mine the rest of these minerals, but the stalkers and sentries from DEFCON 5 moving down to take this stuff out once again. And it looks like DEFCON 5 is in very, very bad shape if he can't get this base up and running. Fortunately though, Spartan has not yet scouted it, so it looks like Spartan going to try to take down the main, or the last buildings, the last pylons and everything, over to the bottom of this map here, right underneath this high yield base. Which, just to let you know, DEFCON 5 has still not scouted the high yield base that he mined out right here. So mid-righty gold. So apparently he's telling him right now that he has that base, and it looks like DEFCON 5 may now be conceding that he is actually going to lose this game indeed, because he is aware that the gold expansion has been mined out, which is how Spartan has stayed in this game with these Mutalisks and Zerglings. Oh, and it looks like he is going to trap this Protoss army on the high ground. A lot of force fields going down, trying to keep those Zerglings from getting in there, and he manages to stop most of them, but there's too many Mutalisks overhead. They are able to just take out every one of those Stalkers and Sentries, and it looks like DEFCON 5 going to GG. So Spartan wins game number 1, representing the VOW gaming community, and it looks like, as you can see here on the unit, I'm sorry, just noticed on the resources here in the upper right, he had a lot of excess resources, so apparently he was idling for a bit there, confident that he was going to win that game. But anyways, we're going to move into game number 2. Remember, this is a best of 3 series, so we'll have to see if DEFCON 5 can pull out a win in game number 2 and force it to an ace match. GG.